Today's lesson, you're going to need a charcoal pencil or regular charcoal, a colored pencil or sanguinea, a plain white pencil, an eraser or kneaded eraser, and last but not least, some tissue paper. I'll be showing you different shading techniques. To start us off, we're going to be using a charcoal pencil. And the first technique I'll be showing you is hatching. Hatching is when you use these simple lines to create a shading that is particular to sketches. This is called hatching because it's just using simple lines to create a certain flow. We then have cross-hatching. Cross-hatching is this motion followed by a cross into it. You cross literally into these lines. This is called cross-hatching, the little intersections within your lines. And with these, you create a different effect. It builds up and you have a really interesting shading. You can use this to create, let's say, a fence post. If you add just a simple line across here, a simple line going down, like that, you have a very simple fence post, just using hatching and cross-hatching. The next technique I'll show you is steepling. In steepling, all you need to do is point the tip of your pencil or charcoal and put some dots. All we're doing is using dots. Steepling is just the motion in which you use dots to create shadows and lighting, but this you need a lot of dots to do that. You can either vary in size and in lightness or darkness, or you can make them bigger. And using these variations, you can create different shading. The next one I'll show you is called just regular shading. Regular shading is if you take this longer part of your charcoal, put it on your paper, press a little firmly, and you have this. This is a simple way of adding shading. If you want to vary your shading, you can lightly press your pencil or charcoal and move slowly. The less pressure you make, the lighter it becomes. That's one way you can shade. Another way you can shade is by pressing firmly again, but on an angle. And then all you need to do is go downwards or whichever direction you feel the shading needs to be, and you can get lighter, lighter, and lighter. Shading varies depending on the kind of effect you want. You see even here, if I want it to be a darker part, and I want to show light coming from this side and ending from in this side where there's the shadows, I press a little harder. That way you have this variation in lighting. Okay, these are the basic shading techniques that I want to emphasize a little more about. A simple example of how to implement what I've shown you is using a circle. Let's get a new page and let me show you. First of all, how to draw a circle. You first just move your hand around in a circular motion until you find a shape that works for you. Once you feel that that shape is circular enough, you can modify it like this, just using simple line motions. And then there we have it. Next thing, we have to decide which side we want the light to come from. Right now, I would like the light to come from here, in this direction. If I want the light to come from here, let's say this is the sun. This here is the sun. If the sun is shining here, the places that would most likely show light would be here. That would be the most direct light. Here, the light will fade a little more. Here, it will be a lot darker. But this part here, this would be the darkest part. And where you have the darkest part is where we're going to be projecting the shadow. if the light is here, it will project downwards in this motion. That way, we're going to have a shadow facing this way. So now, where to begin? This will be our basis. Let's now draw another circle if you want to, or you can use this still. For me, I want to draw another circle. My circle will be just to understand the general look that I want to implement in this. If the light is coming from this direction here, this will be the lightest part. You can decide to leave it unshaded and then start from the inner part. So the first style of shading I want to use is the hatching. The hatching, I can either go vertically, upwards or downwards, or horizontally, this way. From here, now that we have our shadow area here, we have to add it here. You can draw the line and then you use your hatching technique to create your shadow. Hatching to create this lighting. The next thing is steepling. So we draw another circle, nice and small. And then we're going to use steeple, but using this same lighting effect. So we start off here, and then we get darker, but keep pressing. So the darkest part will always have the most dots. The lightest parts have the least. That's the beauty of steepling. And here in the shadow, remember, the shadow is at this angle. So I add my dots this way. Darkest part will always be underneath the ball. And as you blend out, it gets softer. Now we'll be using cross-hatching. So another circle, and then we begin in one stroke like this, and then we start with our hatching, which means pick an angle and then keep going. For me, I'm going to be darkening it like this. Keep on using this different shading for the next couple of minutes, and then I'll show you the results. Let's begin. Now, using my sanguinea or colored pencil, I'm going to show you how to shade when the lighting is coming from different angles. So right now we have used sanguinea and charcoal to create simple effects with lighting. For you to better see what I'm talking about, we need to have a darker surface and this white pencil. I want that same lighting we had earlier on, this part here, which means the light is coming from, let's say here, this angle. I want us to compare what we had drawn initially, the different shading that we had used, to this. This here is a little different, but then the shading is still exactly the same. I'm going to shade this with my favorite shading technique, which is this one here. And I'm going to show you just how much depth you can get just by following the pattern of your circle, the angle of your circle, and the lighting. Even if it's something simple like this, you can get it even more detailed just by spending more time on it. Let me show you how. So from here, I want you to now take your eraser or kneaded eraser. I'll use my kneaded eraser and I have to take out this line. I'm taking this out so that I can start now emphasizing my lighting. The best way to do that is by also erasing some of the outline. It kind of gives you that illusion of, this is where the most light's coming from. So for me to do that, I just erase these areas here. And to enhance that a little more, I erase a little further in to the shaded part. Not everything, just press lightly. Now, I have to show you another cool part so that we don't forget to use our tissue paper. Let's smudge. This is the last technique I'm going to show you. Smudging. When you've already done your shading, you can blend it in further by taking a piece of paper and smudging inwards. Just press nice and firmly onto your paper and then just spread it out. So you can see a little bit of that charcoal remains on your tissue paper. So keep going until you feel whatever you've smudged is to your liking. So for me, I'm going to smudge a little upwards into the light areas like this, so that I can blend the super bright parts here that have no shading into the really dark parts of this bowl. I want there to be a little bit of a difference between the lightest parts and the darkest darks. Okay, now I keep going until I'm completely satisfied with what I see. And for me, the best part is to follow the angle. Imagine this is an actual ball. I use this motion and stick to it until I reach the parts that I want to accentuate, which is here where the light hits directly. On the shadow, I continue as well, blend it out by pressing the darkest areas and then getting softer with your grip on your tissue paper as it gets out. That way it looks more complete. Now, this is our newly shaded ball. using the tip of your kneaded eraser or your razor to create just a little texture. That way it feels more complete. It feels more like a realistic ball, not just something flat and drawn onto the surface. Okay, now this is the result, and there you have it, guys. Shading 101. I hope you had fun. I look forward to another exciting class.